Hey guys, it's Pete from Transhumanism Australia. Hope you're all staying safe. I just want to check in because you haven't heard from us in a while. We've been busy at work, but also trying to stay safe in the lockdowns as well. I know we're all dying to also get out and about and meet out and have a beer eventually. But in the meantime, we're just going to make some videos and give you some updates on the community and also some of the latest science and tech developments. So, with that, let me just share my screen here. Latest on the website, our mission around how we want to educate and invest in scientific research and technologies that enhance the human condition. Because transhumanism is all about transcending the limitations of our human biology using science and technology. So that's our mission statement here. We are a community of technologists. We do have a membership, so it's optional to join, but you really will be supporting the community. When you get a subscription to the membership, we can share with you these videos earlier on before we publish it to YouTube. You could also have us set out your events if you're a corporate or have any of those workshops or keynotes required. We have a list of speakers and facilitators that can make that happen. You can also join our meetups of like-minded community members, and we used to host lots of meetups in person, and until the lockdowns end we'll be doing those online. And with Singularity Australia on Friday mornings at 9 o'clock, you can join Lisa and Christina to hear about some of the latest tech, but we look forward to meeting again in person, hopefully by the end of the year. You can see more of these videos on the YouTube channel, so hit subscribe and like on this, and check out some of the others. If you're happy with this community, please donate through the membership, or you can use our crypto wallet as well by sending through Ethereum. Here's the QR code here. So Transhumanism Australia, we are a movement based in Australia, but really it's a global movement that aims to accelerate the 3 pillars that allow us to transcend these limitations of our human biology. You can see we get things like super longevity, where essentially is looking to help us live longer and happier lives and healthier lives. And we got super intelligence, which helps using technologies to make us more intelligent, and connecting us with artificial intelligence to form that symbiotic relationship. And also super well-being, and we use technology to not just make us live longer or make us smarter, but also live happier and healthier lives and be well in the sense that we know it today. There's also a link to the video from Biopsy. So this is the Post-Human and Introduction to Transhumanism. It's the British Institute of Post-Human Studies, and it goes into a little bit more depth around each of those 3 pillars, around super longevity, super intelligence, and super well-being. So check that out on the website. Like I said, we also do keynotes and workshops. We run meetups and create these videos on the YouTube channel. But really it's about educating and looking to help the community invest in transhumanism. There's a mug of me, sorry, I'm on the TEDx talks, it's always embarrassing. There's Brendan Clark giving a talk on the Australia project, which is based in the book called Manna, by Marshall Brain. It's a short book, it's a really easy read, and really it paints a picture of what dystopia and utopia would look like as technology advances towards that artificial general intelligence and the choice we can actually make while it's happening. And it feels like it's more relevant than ever. Definitely check out Brendan's talk. We're living in a time where we can actually invest in publicly listed companies that are looking to tackle some of these challenges around transhumanism, looking at longevity, for example, CRISPR technologies to actually help correct any genetic defects, and also use that knowledge to enhance our DNA to actually live longer and healthier lives. And these CRISPR companies include Intellia, CRISPR Therapeutics, and Editas. You might have heard ARK Invest and Kathy Wood mention these as part of her Genomic Revolution ARK G fund, which also includes things like Pacific Biosciences, and Pacific Biosciences does long reads, which will supersede the short reads that you'll get from the incumbents like Illumina. And so a company like this really makes me excited that these publicly listed stocks, and you can access them right now. It's not financial advice, but please look into these companies so that at least you can educate yourself around all those things that are happening. Invite, is very similar to 23andMe, but it's a whole genome sequencing, and they're partnering up with companies like Volpara Technologies, Health Technologies, which actually screens for breast cancer. So before they were just using AI to detect anomalies in breast scans, just like radiologists would, but now they're actually working with Invitae to combine that with the genotypes as well. So you've got things like gene expression to be able to help you identify more and more those traits that put you at risk of breast cancer, and that'll really help them detect these things earlier on, give it a richer data set. So we're seeing that convergence of AI and the machine learning also around the devices to be able to scan it, and also whole genome sequencing on the data as well. So healthcare is becoming an information technology, and it's going through that law of accelerating returns that Ray Kurzweil mentioned, similar to Moore's law, but not just limited to silicon. It's really anything that becomes an information technology. And then you got household brands like Moderna. We've all heard about it now, the vaccine that will essentially help us live through COVID normal. We're going to be getting these booster shots every month in the future, I think, maybe every 6 months. But they're not just stopping at COVID vaccines. They're going to be looking at using that same technique, the mRNA technique, to then messenger RNA to actually apply to curing HIV, to vaccinate against HIV, and also to vaccinate against cancer as well. So this technique is used for CRISPR as well, and so yeah, I think really it's going to be that convergence of mRNA, CRISPR, and the ability to scan and also get your whole genome as well. So all of these, it's really exciting times, really good time to look into these public investments. And then there's Unity Biotech as well. That's been the OG publicly listed transhuman stock, really looking at senescence and how to treat the aging process through eliminating these senescent cells. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. And I think unfortunately they've had some setbacks in their recent the phase, I think it's the human trials, but they actually got a whole pipeline to go with as well. They will have to raise money though in the future just to make sure that that pipeline continues to go on, but definitely worth a company to look into if you're into longevity. And there's also super intelligence. So obviously we've got the household brands like Tesla and Nvidia and Google and AMD. It's really just that convergence of the software and hardware, so the AI and the sensors, with Tesla just announcing that they're coming out with a Tesla bot, a prototype by next year. Hopefully in Elon's times that does get in. But you're seeing that they're not just a car company, not just an energy company, but a real world AI company. And applying that into household robotics will help, essentially help you with boring, repetitive, and potentially dangerous tasks as well. And that might include cleaning and cooking and delivering things amid a pandemic. But really that is that sort of large target addressable market that they've been able to scale up, and really on the lines of that super intelligence, because in their latest update, talking about AI Day, they talked about how they created a spatial recurrent neural network, and the visualization of how this neural network is perceiving vector space in 3 dimensions and also the 4th dimension of time, being essentially able to map out kind of like HD maps their environment, but having a memory of it because they included the video stack. And that really senses like a semi, I guess, conscious being, a semi sentient being on these cars, and eventually that can be lifted into these humanoid robotics. So really exciting, and definitely worth checking out that AI Day if you get a chance. The other chip companies, for example, like Qualcomm, TSMC, AMD, and Nvidia, really that hardware is going to accelerate this AI revolution. TSMC is already getting to 3 nanometers, 2 nanometers. Eventually we'll hit that limits of Moore's law, but that's where they'll have to innovate to find that new S-curve, whether it's 3D chips or using graphene or getting into quantum computing. I should also list in here Archer Materials, which is a quantum computing stock in Australia. They've just developed this quantum chip, essentially is working with IBM and a few others, but they've got a patent that's granted in Korea and China as well. And so yeah, that's still subject to challenge, but definitely a pure quantum stock to check out as well, Archer Materials. And then there's Too Simple. So these guys do autonomous trucks, and we all know that's going to be the first profession to be disrupted through all this autonomous driving tech. Highways are a lot easier to find ways to use autonomous driving because you don't have these edge cases as much as you would on the highways as opposed to the suburbs. And also the drivers also are subject to long hauls of having to go through these long drives. And I think they showed in the recent example of a 24-hour drive they were able to save 8 hours because obviously the autonomous truck didn't have to sleep. And also with enough sort of the production, lowering the production cost of these trucks, you'll also make it cheaper as well to essentially replace the truck drivers, allowing truck drivers maybe to then take it from these distribution centres into the suburb, so that'll allow them to manage more and more trucks as truck drivers. But definitely is potentially dwindling that workforce as well, but making the highway safer as well. Definitely going to be a massive something to address as that automation kicks in, as Andrew Yang mentioned with his presidential campaign and his Humanity Forward movement. We've got a Chinese stock Baidu here as well. It's a Chinese Google. Obviously the Chinese stocks have been hit pretty hard recently with the regulations, but I think long term China's 2030 goal of achieving AI supremacy, that's really got to up the ante. And really the super intelligence is going to be driven by the likes of Baidu, Tencent and Alibaba Group, as you see below here. I've just got Baidu here as a pure intelligence play. Super well-being, things like social that actually keep you connected. That's potentially on the downside of social media, but really it's things like if you're in a lockdown, how else do you connect with other people in the social world? And Oculus, for example, is trying to bring that sense of social connectedness while social distancing. And you've got essentially this Maslow hierarchy of needs that we can fulfill with this well-being using technology. So Apple, providing that sort of sense of being able to do biometrics on you to make sure that you are maintaining that healthy mental space as well. But also really it will become a healthcare company in the future that's going to try to maintain your well-being. You've got Amazon as well, helping you make deliveries while you're at home. You've got Microsoft giving you, cloud-based productivity. But really, it's about how do you actually do more with less and keeping you well while you're at home. Coinbase, obviously, looking at giving financial autonomy to people that are unbanked all around the world as well, and allowing you to trade cryptocurrencies. And it's really heading towards the decentralized finance space. Airbnb, I guess really making the most of utility out of existing assets that can house people. So I think it's a great initiative. Tencent, Alibaba Group I mentioned before, but Alibaba being the Amazon in China and Tencent being essentially the Facebook in China as well. Their digital wallets, while economically empowering, will also be a distribution for the Chinese digital yuan. And it is the go-to social network and the go-to wallet apps with Alipay and WeChat Pay, which will be able to facilitate the digital RMB when that rolls out with the Beijing Winter Olympics. Right now the Chinese stocks are getting crushed. We know that those ADRs that you own are not actually necessarily representative of the company shares. It's really an economic interest in them. But they need to further clarify how that's actually going to give shareholders more sense of security while you're holding that as well. But the companies themselves really is around that super well-being and super intelligence stream. And you can see this Maslow hierarchy of needs where you've got the United Nations Development Goals as well. It's lining up with all the areas of Maslow's hierarchy of needs around the physiological, the safety side, and love and belonging, the esteem, and the self-actualization. So hopefully we can fill in any gaps with the technologies that can make more things abundant and accessible and give you that connection that you need with others, and also that sense of esteem and self-actualization of achieving your goals and being able to really find your purpose and then help other people find their purpose. And that's what that self-actualization is about with what Maslow didn't get to publish before he passed away. And it's also angel investments. So Carl Walker founded the Aging Decelerator. He's doing an amazing job bringing together team of advisors and experts, and also helping ambitious founders build new ventures with a focus on aging risks and aging interventions and aging support. Carl used to head up the head of Bupa, head of venturing, so and he's done an amazing job with this purpose of looking at longevity and how do we actually accelerate people trying to address this longevity issue and giving people longer and healthier lives. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. And as a transhumanist community, we should support these angel investments as well. They're quite small investment sizes, so if you're interested, leave a comment below and I can forward you the invite around our Zoom calls if you like to invest in this angel syndicate. And there's also crypto investments like Ethereum and Cardano. Obviously Ethereum with Vitalik Buterin being an avid supporter of researching to increase our health spans. And he's backed Sen's Foundation, which is in a bit of a controversy right now with Orbit de Grey, and the investigation's ongoing. But yeah, it really is sidetracking from that mission from Sen's. So in the meantime, there's a whole bunch of initiatives in the longevity space that that can continue on, like with Methuselah Foundation and Lifespan.io, with Garvin Institute in their genomic research. But also in what we can do in the crypto space. So with Cardano, for example, and Charles Hoskinson, he's a supporter of Singularity Net. It's founded by Ben Goetzel, who works with Hanson Robotics and David Hanson and Sophia Robot. And Ben's an avid transhumanist, and he really wants to create a positive outcome when creating AGI. And the best way to do artificial general intelligence is actually making it as open source as possible, rather than getting it locked into these large tech companies and people doing things in the dark. That's where the most evil is done. Also, the most malicious things could derive from as well. So open sourcing it on Singularity Net. They have the AGIX token that's now hosted on Cardano. It's a full stack AI solution powered by decentralized protocol and allowing AIs to cooperate. So creating modules of these AIs on the marketplace that you could piece together to help create something that will eventually hopefully become a friendly AGI. And there's also Pulse Chain run by Richard Hart, who's raised $25 million for the Sense Research Foundation, but that could have been unfortunate for what Aubrey is going through right now as well, and seeing what Sense is investigating, what he's done. And finally, there's Transhuman Coin. So this is something that came about on Twitter, and we've been wanting to do since 2016, but I guess we just didn't have the software capability, the knowledge, know how to do it. I'm just glad that these folks, I think they're based out of South Africa, has actually launched out, and it's a cryptocurrency dedicated to transhumanism. Essentially, 2% of every transaction goes to the Transhuman charity wallet that they can then donate to the charities of our choice, run by the governance token. So 2% also goes back to the holders, and that creates economic incentive to hold the coin and buy it into it as well. And 2% goes to the liquidity pool on PancakeSwap, and that just sort of maintains liquidity of the marketplace. So really using economic incentives to then try to accelerate the transhuman movement, make it economically viable as well. So you're seeing those public investments and angel investments really looking at, from a return on investment perspective, how to make it viable. I think longevity is probably one of the most sought after addressable market, because the longer you can keep people alive and healthy, the more they can contribute to the economy as well. So we're talking about the tens and trillions of dollars with every year that you can keep people healthier and longer living. So I think the economic incentive is there, but trying to make that something that's more tangible for people that are investing today is where we want to play. And definitely supporting the non-profits like Lifespan.io that have the Life Extension Advocacy Foundation. There's the SENS Research Foundation and the Methuselah Foundation and Garvin Institute. And as a community, for corporates and organizations, we provide speakers and facilitators with experience working in emerging tech for the events and these workshops. For individuals, you can subscribe and become a member. You can join our meetups and like and subscribe this video. If you want to help the movement, buy these t-shirts and masks. There's a great selection here, as you can see. Check out some of Lisa's videos as well on Transhumanism Tech News. And she's done some great work on looking at robotics and autonomous driving, and China and brain implants as well with the Neuralink. So also some talks from Singularity University, and also from the Transhumanism Australia channel. These are our featured speakers. Good to see Meow and Skeeve and Shanti there. Meow, awesome seeing your live streams on Facebook with Lushies. I think that was awesome with the pizza pulley that you managed to invent, you guys. So that's has science gone too far with the delivery driver being able to put the pizza on top of the lever and you guys just picking it up while you're upstairs. That was awesome. And Skeeve and Shanti, I haven't seen you guys in ages. I hope you've been well, and it feels like it's been a lifetime since we had that barbecue at your place, and it was Shanti's birthday, so looking forward to catching up when the lockdown's in and grabbing a beer with you guys again. It's myself and Elise, and it's Nathan Waters. Hey Nathan, loving the podcast. Check out this podcast called Future Balls. It's like a bingo balls with also these future technologies and themes mixed together. And him and Tristan essentially pick out 3 of these balls to then try to come up with an idea for the future. Obviously utopian, but also highlighting some parts that are dystopian. Really awesome podcast. So you got to check it out. It comes out once a week on Wednesday, so go subscribe to Future Balls and just check it out on your Apple Podcasts. It should be there as well. And there's a whole bunch of articles from the community. I wrote this one with Benji Rosman. Hey Benji, on UBI. And so if you want to learn more about UBI, I've just made an update to the website. So there is the Proof of Humanity project that has a UBI token. And basically you go to the Proof of Humanity website, you sign up and essentially just prove that you are the person through a video clip. Just holding your MetaMask wallet address, for example, you essentially would just show that you're a real person, kind of like identity verification. And what they do is use a Cyball system to verify that you're a human. They have a vouching process. So this is my application here. So you've got your someone can vouch for you based on after seeing your video, they might message you with your preferred method of contact, whether it's on Facebook, for example, but really just a message to make sure that you are who you say you are, and this way the network sort of proves itself to make sure that people that are signing up are real humans. And at the end of the day, you put down a deposit of 0.18 Ethereum. I think that is the prohibited part at the moment, given how high Ethereum is at the moment. But also, it's really just a deposit, but you can get that crowdfunded at the moment. The gas fees are also a little bit prohibitive. It's like $25 in Ethereum. But once that's done, you get your deposit back after you've been vouched and you register. And then essentially you start receiving these UBI tokens. As you can see, I've got 58 UBI, which is about, I think 5 cents per UBI. So it's like $2.50. But as they scale this up and also use that UBI to invest in things that get a return on investment, it'd be kind of like capitalism, where essentially the company then invests the money and gets an internal rate of return and distributes that as dividends. And so with the funds that are being put into UBI, the token, essentially it's a decentralized autonomous organization that invests into projects. Right now they're getting returns using liquidity pools, using the DAI UBI swap, but also I think Ethereum as well. So they have these pools that are available here. So UBI issuance, staked UBI with ETH, and staked UBI with DAI. So this is actually able to make sure that the UBI token itself is non-inflationary, because it continues to issue out to all the UBI receivers at the moment. But in the meantime, they're going to find ways to invest to get a return on investment, just like capitalism. So that's UBI token. And if you want to find out more, hit like and subscribe. We'll be going through some more breakthroughs in science and technology, like what's on Singularity Hub. There's also an awesome weekly newsletter that I've checked out from H Plus Weekly, so shout out to them. I think they're doing a great job of summarizing some awesome breakthroughs, and also go through all the tweets that we tweet out from Transhuman Australia on Twitter and Facebook, just to go through the latest breakthroughs, because so much has happened and so hard to keep up. Hopefully this format will be able to keep you up to date on these technologies and help you also make investment decisions. Not financial advice, but also really just to help you educate of what's happening. So signing off, and hope you guys will enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.